Fox News. Breaking news.
Tonight, the temperature in Washington just hit a boiling point. President Donald Trump fired off late-night Truth Social posts tying Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and former CIA Chief John Brennan to the Russia hoax. And then he went even further, declaring Obama guilty of treason. Hours later, the Justice Department announced it's expanding federal execution methods to include the firing squad. Now, to be precise, no charges have been filed tied to Trump's accusation, but the sequence sent social media into absolute overdrive. Trump names names, the DOJ updates policy, and suddenly the entire country is asking one explosive question: what happens next? This matters to every American because the core issue is bigger than a man or a post or a political fight. If top officials in the previous administration years, intelligence circles, and a presidential campaign worked to smear, spy on, or sabotage a duly elected president, then we are not talking about politics as usual. We're talking about corruption aimed straight at your vote, your ballot, and your voice. The same machine that targeted Trump also targeted the millions of Americans who supported him, mocked them, censored them, and treated them like enemies of the state for refusing to bow to the permanent Washington class. And now, President Trump is doing what no Republican before him had the courage to do: say it plainly, publicly, and without fear. He posted video highlighting declassified material pointing to Brennan briefing Obama on Clinton-approved plan to vilify Trump with a Russia narrative. Then Trump said Obama was the leader of the gang. It's not small talk. That is a direct challenge to the old regime, and the media knows it. And while the political class spins panic and confusion, that same fear machine is always aimed at your wallet too. And that's why I tell people to look at what the insiders do and not what they say. Wall Street doesn't lose money on sell-offs, you do. They create the panic, wait for you to dump your position out of fear, and scoop it up at a discount. The big banks aren't selling their gold, they're buying yours. And every time the headlines scream, regular people sell. And every time regular people sell, the institutions are right there waiting with open hands. You built portfolio insurance for a reason. Don't let a red day hand it over to the people who caused it. Talk to Noble Gold Investments and learn how to protect what you've earned. Go to nextnewsgold.com right now and see how you may qualify for a 10th ounce American Gold Eagle. Because when the system gets shaky, smart Americans get stronger, not spooked. Now here's the twist that sent the story from major to massive. Trump didn't just repost old talking points. He amplified a video claiming Hillary Clinton funded, approved, and created the Steele dossier, that Obama called the shots, and that Brennan CIA did the dirty work. Then Trump followed with remarks saying Tulsi Gabbard has thousands of additional documents coming. If that material lands publicly, this stops being a social media storm and becomes a historic exposure event the establishment cannot control. Let's dive in now. This is Donald Trump's post from Truth Social. President Trump taking a direct shot at Barack Obama. He was quote tweeting this from Steve Rambert. At Barack Obama, I hope they arrest you before your grand opening of your war bunker in the south side of Chicago. You committed treason, targeting the President of the United States with Hillary Clinton. It's time we prosecuted someone for treason and sent a message. That's what President Trump posted. So he opens by zeroing in on Obama. Seconds later, he turns the heat on Hillary with another post. This is what he posted. Hillary Clinton funded, approved, and created the Steele dossier. Barack Obama called the shots. Brennan CIA did the dirty work. The evidence is clear. Treason was committed. Now they must pay, or they will do it again. Americans demand it. President Trump not holding back, naming Hillary. He follows the case he's making against the whole operation, laying out Brennan's notes, the dossier claim, and why the Russia hoax keeps boomeranging back on the Obama world. This is the video that he did attach to that post on Truth Social. Watch closely.
Knew Hillary created the dossier, and now we have proof that Barack was calling the shots and the documents to prove it.
Declassified documents revealing former CIA Director John Brennan briefed then-President Obama on Hillary Clinton's purported.
We knew Hillary created the dossier, and now we have proof that Barack was calling the shots and the documents to prove it.
Declassified documents revealing former CIA Director John Brennan briefed then-President Obama on Hillary Clinton's purported plan to smear then-candidate Trump in 2016, adding to what the National Intelligence Director has already declassified on this issue, and raising more questions tonight about how much more of this will come out before Election Day. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening. These are handwritten notes from former CIA Director John Brennan, written according to a source familiar after Brennan briefed President Obama. At one point, Brennan writes, quote, approved by Hillary Clinton, a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. The notes say on 28 of July, in the margin, Brennan writes POTUS, but that section of the notes are redacted. Then it says any evidence of collaboration between Trump campaign and Russia. The remainder of the notes are redacted, except in the margins where it says JC, Dennis, and Susan. That could be referring to former FBI Director James Comey, former Obama Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough, and former National Security Advisor Susan Rice. The CIA sent a memo to former FBI Director James Comey and Peter Strzok writing, quote, the following information is provided for the exclusive use of your Bureau for background investigative action or lead purposes as appropriate. One example, the CIA includes, quote, an exchange redacted discussing U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of a private email server. At a hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee last week, Comey was pressed on what he did with information provided by the CIA.
Did you open an investigation?
I don't know what that refers to. As I said earlier, that does not ring any bells with me when I read that.
You did not receive any investigative referral of this nature?
I don't remember it. I don't remember receiving anything that's described in that letter.
We knew Hillary created the dossier, and now we have proof that Barack was calling the shots and the documents to prove it.
So President Trump posting that to Truth Social, okay, spelling out the alleged chain of command. Now the online reaction jumps straight to the penalty of treason under federal law. In the United States, the punishment for treason is outlined in the U.S. Code 18 U.S.C. 2381, which states that a person convicted of treason can face death. Those are the legal questions hitting social media. Next, President Trump says it out loud on camera that Obama is guilty of treason. There it is. There's no going back now. President Trump says Obama is guilty of treason. MJ Truth Ultra. Remind me, what is the penalty for treason? Here's the president.
The leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it. And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents coming. So President Obama, it was his concept, his idea, but he also got it from crooked Hillary Clinton. Crooked is a $3 bill.
That was President Trump in the Oval Office, not hedging at all. Says Obama let it, more documents are coming. Goes further, says there should be severe consequences. After what they did to me, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught cold.
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
They're going to, your Deputy Attorney General has reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given...
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up all the way going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
Okay, so I'm playing these clips because it's all contextual. President Trump just reposting treason charges for Obama, bringing up Hillary. He's made these remarks in the past in the Oval Office. And then on the same day, the DOJ adds firing squad as a method for federal executions. Daily Caller, the Justice Department said today it's reinstating the lethal injection protocol used during Trump's first term while expanding federal execution methods to include the firing squad. Officials also said they're moving to speed up death penalty cases and review whether to expand or relocate federal death row facilities. Okay, he calls for treason. We know what the penalty for treason is. And then the DOJ updates their methods. So the Justice Department move is already making national headlines. CNN confirming it with their own headline. Trump's Justice Department is bringing back firing squads for federal executions. So even CNN's acknowledging the firing squads back on the books. And now some grassroots reaction. Rose Smith writes, I used to think Trump was a good president. Now I realize the system has been corrupt for decades. He's the only one who ever fought it, the greatest of all time. And I agree. And that post sums up why the base sees Trump as the man willing to take on the machine. John Rich, you guys know who he is. I've been to his house. If you can arrest one former president, you can arrest any former president. You see how that works? You guys remember this mugshot? Oh, I'm reminded of it every single day. President Trump has this mugshot sitting outside of the Oval Office. So anyone who enters the Oval Office is also reminded of that moment. The liberal tears never tasted so sweet. But the reality is, John Rich has said here, never was truer. If you can arrest a former president, you can arrest any former president. John Rich drew the line on presidential precedent. Now another account notes Trump posted twice about treason and Obama arrest in one burst. Everyone's talking about it today. President Trump just posted 2x posted about treason, Barack Obama, and arrests. It is getting spicy. Julie Donuts, President Trump posted this last night. Guys, he keeps posting these videos because he's telling the public that these disgusting, evil criminals are going to be arrested. They committed heinous crimes. And what they did was treason among many other crimes, and they do not get away with it. Justice is going to be served for we the people, finally. And then she included a screenshot of Donald Trump's Truth Social post. So here is the aha moment. The real battle is not simply over whether Obama, Clinton, or Brennan face scrutiny. The real battle is whether America finally admits that the Russia hoax was never just a dirty trick against Trump. It was an attack on constitutional government itself. Trump is saying the quiet part out loud. The people who claim to protect democracy may have abused the state to manipulate it. And that's why the media is panicking, why Democrats are desperate to change the subject, and why supporters are reading these Truth Social posts as a warning shot. If the documents back the accusation, then the largest political fraud in modern American history did not happen to Trump alone. It happened to the entire country. So let's keep this straight. President Trump has now publicly pointed at Barack Obama as the central figure behind what he calls treason tied to the 2016 smear machine. The DOJ, on the same day, updated federal execution policy to include the firing squad. No, that doesn't mean a case is filed. That doesn't prove a direct connection, but yes, it explains exactly why this story exploded, why the ruling class is sweating bullets tonight. The American people have waited years for accountability, and under the Trump administration, the era of automatic protection for the elite is over. If you want more reports that the corporate media will never give you straight, share this video, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Do you believe the American people will finally see real accountability, yes or no? Make sure you do this one thing for me. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963 to beat the algorithm, the suppression of our work, and get direct alerts from me to your phone. And check out the next news merch shelf below this video. Stay loud, stay fearless, and stay America first.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.